He gave the modern world alternating current, the electricity running through the walls around you, right now almost certainly traces back to his work. He held over 300 patents, and he died nearly penniless, alone in a hotel room, feeding injured pigeons through an open window. This is Nikola Tesla, a mind so unusual that even a century later, we're still not entirely sure how to categorize him. Tesla was born in 1856 in a region of the Austrian Empire that's now part of Croatia, to a family of Serbian descent. He immigrated to the United States as a young man with, according to his own later accounts, very little money and a letter of recommendation to none other than Thomas Edison. Their working relationship was brief and famously bitter. After a disagreement over payment for improving Edison's DC motor designs, a dispute where Edison reportedly dismissed the whole matter as a joke, Tesla quit on the spot. He went on to develop and champion alternating current, the system that would eventually win out over Edison's direct current and become the standard for how we transmit electricity around the world. Here's what set Tesla apart from nearly every other inventor of his era. He rarely sketched his designs. Instead, he claimed to visualize a complete, working invention in perfect detail inside his own mind before he ever touched a physical tool. He would mentally construct a machine, run it, watch for where it might fail or wear down over time, and refine it, all internally, before building anything in the real world. By the time he actually built a prototype, much of the trial and error had already happened, invisibly inside his own head. This is an almost unbelievable claim on its face, but it points to something real and learnable underneath the mysticism, the value of thoroughly modeling a problem before rushing into physical execution. Most of us skip straight to building and let reality do the debugging. Tesla did an enormous amount of that debugging internally first. Tesla's daily life was built around intensely rigid routines. He claimed to sleep only 2 to 3 hours a night, often working until 3 a.m. and waking again at 5. He ate dinner at exactly the same time each night, at the same restaurant, at the same table. He was drawn to the number 3 and its multiples, famously walking around the block after dinner, and if he ever lost count partway through, restarting until the total came out divisible by 3. Some of this crossed into what we'd now likely recognize as obsessive-compulsive tendencies, and it's worth being honest about that rather than romanticizing it. Uncritically, Tesla was, by multiple contemporary and historical accounts, deeply impractical with money and increasingly driven by compulsions as he ate, but the underlying pattern, extreme. Structure protecting long, uninterrupted stretches of focused thought is one thread of his eccentricity that's genuinely worth separating from the parts that ultimately hurt him. Tesla lived largely alone for most of his adult life. He kept only a small handful of close friends, never dated, and reasoned that celibacy actually sharpened his focus and creative output. He grew increasingly withdrawn from conventional social life as he aged, developing an intense fondness for feeding and caring for pigeons in New York's parks, at one point saying that as long as he had a particular pigeon he cared for, his life still had purpose. This isolation almost certainly protected the deep, uninterrupted focus that made his mental modeling process possible, but it also left him with little support as his later ventures failed financially, and his reputation shifted from visionary to eccentric outsider. He died with very little money, his most ambitious later projects unfinished and largely unfunded. The same isolation that fueled his genius also left him without a safety net when things went wrong. So what's actually useful here, separated from the myth? First, before you build or execute anything significant, spend real time modeling it mentally. Walk through it step by step. Imagine where it breaks. Refine it before you touch the first tool or line of code. This isn't mystical. It's front-loading your thinking instead of discovering problems the expensive way. in the middle of execution. Second, protect blocks of genuinely uninterrupted focus, the way Tesla protected. His working hours must have but pair that discipline with real relationships and support, which Tesla mostly didn't have. His story is a caution as much as an inspiration. Deep focus without any human safety. Net is a fragile position to be in when things eventually go wrong. Third, hold on to your most ambitious ideas, but stay grounded in practical reality about resources and money. Tesla's visionary thinking was real and historically vindicated, but his complete disregard for financial practicality contributed directly to his downfall. Vision and practicality aren't opposites. You need both. Nikola Tesla helped build the electrical backbone of the modern world, using a mind that worked in ways most of us can barely imagine. But his story isn't just a triumph. It's a reminder that the same intensity that produces genius can also isolate a person from the support they eventually need.